Okay, so where we left off in the last video, I had just made a merge layer where everything was together, but I did it in a non-destructive way by holding down Option and then going to Layer Merge Visible. If you don't hold down Option while you do that, it will just collapse them all into one layer and erase all the component layers. But by holding down Option, it leaves all your component layers in case you wanted to change them later. So that's what's called non-destructive editing. It's something we're going to try to learn. And then I use my magic wand with contiguous turned off, and I selected the empty space around it. And if it selects more than just the empty space, you might want to take your tolerance down, but for me it's fine. And then I looked for anywhere that there were extra pixels, like there's a little extra pixel there I don't want. So I augmented the selection with my lasso, holding down Shift on this active selection to add it in, so that when I hit delete, it will clean up. It's basically cleaning up the factory, right? Ready for the presentation, the car show. Getting all the dust off the floor. And there might be some edges that still need to be buffed and cleaned a little. Especially where the magic wand kind of selected them. But for right now, actually, let me undo that, Command Z. I'm just going to hit delete and throw away all that debris, right? So if I hit delete, what happens? All those little specks go away, and if I want to see that, I can use the magic wand again, and you'll see that they don't exist anymore, right? So now it's all tight to my creature. That's good, but there's a little speck there. These are what are called empty pixels. They're just really low opacity, and I just missed them the first time. So I'm adding that in. I'll hit delete again. This is a delete that was done, started with the magic wand and then augmented with the lasso. So it has no pixel feather at all. But now I am going to select and mask. And so this will give me a feathering. Okay. Now if I do that to everything and then delete, you can see that it kind of bites away at the edge. This is where the original edge was. It's bitten it away to be kind of equally soft. Now where I really need that is on the back of my crab. That helped a lot. So what did it look like before that? It looked like this. So that's kind of polishing it. So all the edges are smooth and clean. But it's not going to recreate the shape for you. It's just going to standardize it. Okay, good. Command D to deselect. Now, because it's all in one place, I can also use my tool adjustments. Remember, direct adjustments adjust everything. So like levels, now I can use it for my full creature. Like maybe I want to make my creature a little bit brighter, right? Or a little bit darker. It's all in one place. But that's not as useful as tool adjustments like dodge and burn and sharpen. So first I'm going to use sharpen. It's going to remember all my settings. I always want a strength of less than 30. I'm going to look for anything that looks kind of soft. And I'm going to try to bring it in and sharpen it now that it's all in one place. And I like doing this with the tablet. Things will move kind of slowly, but that's okay. And then I might see, as I'm doing this, there's little areas I want to trim out that don't make as much sense, like in here. All right. And then I can think, oh wait, no, that's too much. I want a little bit of that shadow underneath it, so I'm going to augment this selection by using Option to subtract from it, and then delete, delete, delete. And then I might use my sharpen tool. Get some of that texture. Might be other little places I want to augment the edge. It's nice to have it all on one layer, so this is easy to do. And I'm being pretty picky. And then I'm going to sharpen where I think it needs to be sharpened. And ideally, when you do a creature concept, you want it all in focus everywhere. Right? Because it's easy to take focus away. It's harder to keep it sharp. So now, what are some of the other tool adjustments? Dodge and burn. That's going to be next. So it's great to be able to sharpen any edges that, as long as the pixel count is high enough, it should do a pretty good job. This I want to burn down a little bit more, but now it's going to do it across all those different kind of blended layers, right? And I can do that with, combine it with sharpen to kind of help that out. And it will look all more solid and more in the lighting when I do that. And remember, I'm burning on the midtones. Don't burn your shadows or it will just go to black. And then I can dodge on the midtones. Again, less than 20 or less than 30. I can bring that highlight where I need it. Okay. So right now I am dodging, which means to bring highlights to certain areas. And remember, I can do it across the whole thing. So across the top, I kind of bring the highlights like above the eyes. This eye is a little more in shadow than I want, so I brighten it up. You can see what a difference that makes. On the front claws here, I can brighten it up, and that will actually increase the contrast even where the focus is a little wonky. And then burning, I can increase the shadows at the seams. Right? And then I can go back to sharpen. And remember, sharpen just finds the pixels that are different from each other and then increases their individual edge contrast. So now that really sharpens that up. So sometimes you have to dodge and burn in order to get the things that you want to sharpen. Okay, the last kind of big guns tool to make textures match is you want to find where it looks like there's a weird gap in your design. And there's always something. And you could solve that by recompositing in a new reference. But then you have to color adjust it. You have to do all that stuff. So what I see is like there's this weirdness here that's part of the crab's face that I don't really want. And what I would like more of is kind of this bluish, furry tarantula texture. So how can I get some of this texture into this part? Like where the legs come out. So this is how we're going to learn it. This tool is called Clone Stamp. Clone Stamp is like copying and pasting or doing duplicates, but it's doing it with a tool rather than with a selection. So what we're going to do, so that we don't destroy our pixels, we're going to do it non-destructively. I'm going to make a new layer. And I'm going to lock my combined layer. So on this new layer, I'm going to mark it red, because this is the first time we're using a very powerful tool. And I'm going to label this layer Clone Stamp. And until you're really comfortable using it, I recommend you use it in this way. So what is this like? This is like putting a layer of wax all over your car, right? And then using it to fill in all the gaps and then scraping it off where it's too built up. So we're doing it over the top of our layer instead of on our layer. Clone Stamp tool is underneath the paintbrush. The shortcut for it is S. And then you want to look at the settings. We use it a lot like we use the eraser. We're going to use it large and soft. Normal mode, 100% opacity, 100% flow. And we are going to sample not from the current layer, which is the default, but from all layers. When we say all layers, it's only going to be all visible layers, right? So to use it, we're going to turn off the gray background. Even though that checkerboard is annoying, we don't want this to accidentally copy any gray from the background, right? This is how it works. If I wanted to put an eye in the middle of his head, I'm on my clone stamp layer. I'm going to hold down Option to target it. When I hold down Option, I get crosshairs. I'm going to target it right on the highlight on the eye and then let go. Now, you're going to see that as I move my cursor around, it's showing me those pixels that can be copied in that clone stamp. And then when I press and start painting, it's going to paint from that area that I selected, right? Now, if I didn't do it on a new layer, that would replace the pixels that were where I was painting. So that would be destructive. But by doing it on top, now I can do a lot of nice things, and I can kind of shave away from it. I can erase, I can blend, I can do all kinds of things. In fact, I can even clone stamp again and grab this pupil and paint it in, right? And I can change my target over and over again. So it's good to use it at 100% first. I'm going to select all of that and clear it. And now I'm going to use it where I need it. So I wanted some of this texture, this kind of black furry texture, and I wanted it in here. So it's kind of like I'm matching the paint. Right. Maybe I want a little bit of it back here too. And it's just floating on top of everything. So this is what clone stamp looks like for my gaps. Maybe you need it a lot of places. Hopefully you don't need it too many places, right? So now I can go in and I can target a new place and keep extending it, right? And with that soft edge, it's kind of blending as I go. So I can bring a little bit of that darkness into here. All those varied pixels. It's very different than painting with black, for instance, because there's so much going on in those pixels that I'm copying. Or I want to darken a little bit of that. So this can be used for shadows. This can be used for textures. This can be used for patterns. I could bring the peppery texture onto the back of the crab if I wanted to. Right. I just have to grab enough of it from different places, kind of seam it together. And because it's soft edge, it's all going to kind of blend and work. Okay, now all of that's at 100% opacity on my clone stamp layer. So now with it, I can go in and I can blend it with a lower opacity eraser. I don't even need the 100% opacity eraser because I used the clone stamp already with a soft edge. So there are no hard edges on my clone stamps. But this is just to kind of sink it in and merge it with the existing textures underneath. Again, that's why we do it on top. So sometimes you want the wax layer to be pretty thin. Other times you want it to be heavier. Or if I don't want these little eyeball things left over from the crab, I can do clone stamp. I can grab this kind of texture and just bring it over. And I'm doing it at 100% because that's the best way to learn it. But once you get good at clone stamp, then you can also do it at lower opacities. And it's incredibly helpful. Okay, so now that's what the clone stamp layer looks like. Those are all my gaps. And maybe I just want cosmetic, get rid of that little dark shape. Okay, so there's my creature. but maybe I want some shadow